there is a way that we have come sort of culturally, medically, psychologically in our culture to talk about ADHD in this way that doesn't always match up with what the science of ADHD suggests. And I think that has to do in partly with our feelings about psychology, but partly with our feelings about diagnosis as well. And I think that we want diagnosis to be this very sort of clear, objective, empirical fact that I think with ourselves, but even maybe more with our kids, that it's very frightening to feel like something is wrong, either in our own minds or in our children's, and not know what it is. That's a really sort of terrifying place to be. And I think for most of us, it's not an uncommon feeling, right? I have definitely had that feeling in lots of moments in my life where like something feels wrong and I don't know what it is. And I think there is something very comforting in a diagnosis, whether it's ADHD or anything else, even if it's like a negative diagnosis, like someone saying something is wrong and it's a medical problem. There's something reassuring in that it's like, okay, that uncertainty is over. Now I know what's going on. I can put myself in the hands of medical science or psychiatric science, and there are treatments that I can rely on. And what I found in reporting on ADHD is that when it comes to ADHD, for in many ways that is not that's not the case. So that our sense of ADHD as something that is a black and white diagnosis, where you either have it or you don't, is mostly not true. That ADHD symptoms seem like they instead exist on a spectrum. That the line between being diagnosable and not being diagnosable is pretty fuzzy, and that some of the treatments that we rely on and that often feel like they're working, especially at the beginning, seem in terms of the best science we can find to be less reliable over the long term. And so I think that it makes sense that encountering that information, as I did when I was reporting, as you did when you read my article, can be really threatening. I feel like actually, once you dive into that reporting and think about it more and read more about it, it is actually really reassuring. I think it gives us a different way to think about ADHD that is much more, not only more realistic and more scientifically based, but much more humane, much more about the kind of parenting that I think we want to do, that is accepting that people change, that people go through difficult periods, that the mind is complicated, that the world is complicated. And that's where I'm trying to push the conversation about ADHD.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I don't disagree with anything that you just said about, the ideal being an environment and to think about this as not just black and white, zero sum. I love what you say. I mean, I'm going to get to medicate them to treatment and all the different possibilities for treatment in a second, but I forget what scientist in your piece said, but you can't just like a cut along a line and on one side there's ADHD and on you either have it or you don't. And I also really respond to like whenever I say I have ADHD, it's like, what is that? Like, what is the thing that I have? It's not, as recent studies that you highlight in your piece have found, there is no biomarker for it, like diabetes or like a virus that can be detected. And there's no, I don't know, I'm going to botch all my terminology, but there's no like physiology or like there's no biology to substantiate what we're treating in a biological way, right? With medicine. So all of that tracks, but like there is still something going on.